Hello, gonna react to something. So wallpaper of the day, you guys see it. Steam summer sale. I know it's winter, let's not talk about that. Okay, let's just move on. So I got told some things were said by the legendary Pokimane. I got sent this video. I was told to just watch the first like little tidbit up until like here is what I was told, until they bring up the other kids. It's really weird because, okay, here's what I was told before we start chat. I was told that she mentioned VTubers or something like that, which is why we're watching. And then she said something about like the Super Bowl. So this is interesting. One, I don't interact with the I've said this many times, you guys know this. I don't interact with the VTubing community in terms of like, you know, watching creators all day and doing stuff like this, because I'm too busy creating content myself, right? So it's one or the other. And it's kind of interesting because I then get to see how people feel about these things from a point of view of like, I'm just on the sideline, bro. Okay, let's give this guy some love.
Only white people hated it. I didn't want to say it.
Oh my God.
Passing person, I didn't want to say it.
Why is she putting so much energy into it? Bro, she's like a comedian right now. She putting all her body into it and everything. She is invested.
Pokimane has been getting a lot of heat recently.
Let's be honest, Pokimane will get backlash for eating chips the wrong way. A lot of people genuinely just dislike her and blow things way out of proportion. I believe this. I said this before on stream. I think some people just hate other streamers or whoever just to hate them. And if you like really talk to them, they usually don't really have a reason. They just don't like them because I don't like them, right? It's just really cringe. It's really annoying.
Nigga, you ain't funny.
Oh my God. Am I the only one that kind of doesn't care she said this? Because I thought she was black. Even if she's half, like I always was like, yeah, she's black. Because I remember seeing her hair, her natural hair, and it's curly as hell. But it's just really interesting for me because I'm like, I thought she was black. But everybody was like all over her for saying this. And this was years ago. Not many huge female streamers on Kai and iShow Speed's levels. I don't know how I feel about that. I think what metrics are you looking at? You know what I mean? If you just want to talk about like subs and views, I guess maybe. But there are female streamers making probably the same, if not more.
Fortunately, there aren't that many like huge female streamers, at least not on their level, which I think reflects like nowadays the audience has, in a way.
I have a question, and this is a good question. A better question would be, well, I don't think female streamers are willing to do what they're doing, right? Because they're acting crazy. Like Kai and Aish, they are acting genuinely just crazy. They're on a whole other level, dude. That's a valid question too, because the way that they're acting, it's like that's a guy thing. Like the crazy stuff they're doing, that's a guy thing. Not saying necessarily women can't do it. It's more of a like, you look at them, you're like, oh yeah, they're guys. Like that's
compared to men and women. I can't name one female streamer that's done a global tour like Speed did last year. I might be wrong.
Exactly.
So don't hold me to that. You've got QT Cinderella, who has
exactly.
Awards,
I said this too.
Event that only happens once a year. I could list loads of things.
Maya's another great example. Maya does her animal stuff, but obviously in terms of views, she doesn't, you know, pull in numbers. But in terms of the crazy stuff that she's doing, who she has on and stuff like that, like I would say she's doing things on a similar level.
Things that female streamers have done, but at the end of the day, none of them have committed to the stream as much as Kai and Speed. It's not.
That's what I'm talking about. I don't know a girl who's willing to do a backflip
as much as Kai and Speed.
That the performance is trying to convey, especially during Black History Month. So you sitting there, again, respectfully.
So, again, as someone who doesn't listen to rap, I think she's right. The first time I watched it, there were some things that didn't click. Like I didn't see in the stands, like the loading, you know how in the beginning of the Super Bowl for Kendrick, if you look at the stands where all the people are, it has a loading bar and then it says like start here, like a video game. I understood it was a quote unquote game, but I didn't see a lot of the things. And I'm talking about the first time, right? Because I'm just looking at generally what's going on, right? It's a first reaction. And just off of my first reaction, just off of the very first time I watched it, in my head, based off of what Samuel Jackson was saying, at least trying my best to hear what Kendrick was rapping about, it fit well. Obviously, I'm not talking about the dissing Drake stuff, but I'm talking about just generally a lot of the stuff. The very first time watching it, in my head, I'm like, yeah. And this is something I've heard even from people that I know who went to the Super Bowl. Apparently, if depending on where you were in the stands of the Super Bowl, the performance sounded really bad. Like, it didn't sound good. They didn't mix it very well. And everybody was like, well, you know, it was a performance for the camera and not for the people who were actually there. This happens too, and that's unfortunate. But I think it sucks because then you get people like she's saying, right? Primarily a bunch of white people just being like, oh, this is weird. Now, if you saw the Super Bowl on TV and, you know, you're all like, man, all this rap music, I don't understand a word they're saying. I don't know. Like, they're weird. Like, stop it.
Offense to Pokimane. Sneeko was on stream doing some weird shit, but I guess it's fine. I don't really know.
What?
He started analysing Pokimane's basically.
Okay, we're not doing that. I always think stuff like this is just really stupid. But yeah, chat here. That was Kingsy. Show Kingsy some love here. Here you go. Yeah, I think it's a difficult conversation overall. I think both of those takes were just based off of caveats. It depends on what's important to you. Because I would say with her first point, and this is the recap, guys, for those who just came in. This is the recap. I think her first point on, hey, there's not a lot of female streamers on Kai and iShowSpeed's level. I think if you talk in terms of numbers and views, sure, I guess. I mean, Iron Mouse did it, but if you're talking anything else, I think there's a lot of girls on their level in terms of the cool stuff that they do. Because again, if you just care about the numbers, you're going down a very bad path, and you're being disingenuous in that way. On her second point, that it was only white people who didn't like the rap music. I mean, as a professional black person, tell me something I don't know. Right? Like, listen, I don't listen to rap music, and when I had braids, everybody thought I was a rapper, and I play metal guitar. I play neoclassical metal, bro. Like, it's gonna happen. I also think that's on a caveat too, because the Super Bowl, if you were there, it sounded like crap according to a lot of people. So, you know, it happens. Thanks, chat. We're gonna watch the next one because I don't want to stay on this too long. We're gonna move on to the next video. I think Pokimane, I don't think she deserved this. This was stupid, in my opinion. But it happens, you know, it's the internet and people are terminally online.